New vaccine trial is coming to the Spokane area, and they're looking for 300 volunteers to participate.
Yeah, Dr. Jonathan Stabin is joining us live to answer your questions about the Novavax vaccine and the trial happening at MultiCare in Cheney. And you do still have time to send in your questions. You can text in at 509-448-2000. Good morning, Dr. Stabin. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hello, good morning. Thanks for having me bright and early here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to jump right in. Obviously, one of the big first questions that people have is give us an overview of what this vaccine is all about. This would be the third. And so what makes this one different than the first two?
Sure. Well, this is one of actually 8 companies that were funded by the federal government to develop a COVID vaccine. And the reason the government did that is because they wanted to look at a lot of different types of vaccine technology that are already out there. And they also knew that one company or even two wouldn't necessarily solve the world's problems for vaccine distribution. So Novavax has developed a vaccine that's a little bit different than the types that are out right now through Pfizer and Moderna. Their vaccine is a protein subunit vaccine, which is similar to vaccines that we've had for decades now. For example, our hepatitis B vaccine is a subunit vaccine.
Dr. Stabin, tell us more about who you would like to have participate in this trial. Who can qualify for it? Who's available to try and join?
Yeah, so we're looking for up to 300 volunteers. It's the nationally the study is enrolling 30,000 over 115 sites. So we're the only site outside of University of Washington in the state. Basically, they're targeting several groups. First of all, they want people that might be at higher risk for COVID, and that could be people that work in a setting or have a social situation that puts them at higher risk. They're looking for minorities that have typically been underrepresented in clinical trials in the past. People over 65 are another group, and then finally people with other health problems. What we call comorbidities, so people with, say, diabetes or hypertension or other health issues, those are also people we're looking for.
And Dr. Stabin, one question that we're receiving is, what's the incentive? Some people are asking, why put them, someone wants to know, why put myself at risk? Will there be payment? So I know sometimes in trials there are some things like that. Explain what's the incentive to participate in a trial like this, and if there are any incentives.
Yes, every study pretty much that I've ever been in, and it's pretty standard, has some monetary incentive. Generally the monetary incentive is enough to make it worth your hassle or effort to get into the trial, because there's things like blood draws and things like that you do. So it's definitely the monetary incentive is something that's attractive. They have to make the monetary incentive something that's not too high, where people would do something to put themselves at risk, but enough to make it attractive. The other reason why you might want to do this is the randomization. So the people are split into 2 groups. 2/3 will get vaccine, 1/3 will get placebo. And typically it's a 50-50 mix there. So 2/3 of the people in the study will get a vaccine. So if you think you might be down the list on the current vaccine rollout, so if you think you might be, say, waiting until the summer, it might be a great way to get a possible vaccine early.
Well, Dr. Stabin, that last question obviously comes from a question of safety as well. A lot of people wanting to know, how do they know that signing up for a trial like this is safe for them? Do you have anything to reassure those viewers?
Yes, for sure. So this is a phase 3 trial. What that means is that vaccines go through several phases. The first phase is typically where they're looking for the immune response to the vaccine. Then the second phase, they roll it out to a larger group of people, usually a few thousand. In this case, so we're down to the last phase where we're looking more for effectiveness. So they've already gone through the biggest safety phase, but they go through the final one where they enroll a large group of people. Fortunately, we're a little behind in terms of enrollment worldwide. So the UK, for example, has already enrolled 15,000 people. South Africa has enrolled a little over 4,000 people in their phase 2B trial. typically with a vaccine, you're going to see any serious adverse event within a couple months. So we've already had a large amount of time go through where a significant portion of the population in different countries have already been through those that time.
And Dr. Staben, a live question just coming in the last few minutes. Someone following up asking the question, how much will you get paid? Are you able to disclose that?
Typically, I'd have to get the exact numbers, but typically it's paid per visit. So this visit you're followed over up to, they would like you to follow up over 2 years. But the first few visits are going to occur in the first month. Then it's on month 3, 6, and down the road. So they get spaced out. But typically, it's, I would say on average, a little over $100 per visit. So I'd have to get the exact number, but that's kind of in line with trials we've done in the past.
Dr. Staben, another question we just got a few minutes ago. If I were able to participate in this trial, would I be available for another vaccine candidate?
So do you mean like if you did this trial and you had the opportunity to get one of the currently emergency use authorization?
Yeah, could they receive another vaccine if they signed up for this trial?
Yeah, so basically what would happen is in order to get another vaccine, you would need to be what's called unblinded. That's where you have the opportunity to know if you got placebo or vaccine. So I think a typical scenario would be, say you're a teacher and you want to enroll in the trial, and say like in April they have your district says, hey, we got the vaccine, we're going to let all you teachers get the Pfizer or Moderna one. Well, then you would need to know if you had the vaccine, the real vaccine or placebo. In that case, we would be able to unblind you. Now, if you think you might have access to that vaccine pretty soon, like say in 2-3 weeks, you probably don't want to necessarily be in the trial. But if you think it might be a little bit delayed, it's a good opportunity to get something early.
All right, Dr. Staben, thanks so much. And if we didn't get to your question this morning, MultiCare doctors and researchers are hosting a virtual town hall next Tuesday, January 12th. It begins at 5:30 p.m. You do need to register online beforehand, and we can send the link right to your phone. All you have to do is text the word trial to 509-448-2000.